Hello everyone and welcome back to the Astroflower. This is going to be a video on manifestation and the changing veil of energy that's been lifted at the moment on the reality that is around us. I personally have noticed it enormously. I hope you have as well. For a lot of people, it would be a lot easier to get on and get things done and so forth. And this is down to the changing rules of manifestation. And I've watched many videos on manifestation, like lots of people on the internet. And the one thing I took from it was there was a lot of a wing and a prayer sort of thing scenario about it, and it didn't sit right with me. I never bought into it really, because it wasn't consistent enough in the results to prove that, to me personally, that those techniques were really working. And as I say, I think there's been a layer of energy that's been taken off, a layer of complexity. That's what I would prefer to say. A layer of complexity to the reality that is around us that has been taken off. So it's like you're looking through a pair of sunglasses, and every time you take off a layer, you're taking off, things are becoming a lot more, there's a lot more color that comes into things. And this is what's been happening with the energy at the moment. And with the lifting of that veil, it's, as I say, it's changed the rules. And primarily, and this is probably the biggest change I've noticed within the manifestation factor, is the simplicity of things. And simplicity is the golden mean to manifestation, especially now. And if you're hoping, or no, see, I'm not a great fan of the word hope, because they put hope in Pandora's box. And why do they put it in a box with all the ills of the world? Is because hope is eternal and it's never actually going to give you the result. So, you know, if you are trying to manifest a global change in things, you have to have a lot of people that are also exactly in sync with that. And that's why it's proven a lot more difficult to, through, World Meditation Day and what have you, to try and change what's the reality that is around us. So I've approached it in a different way, in a sense that if I try and manifest something in my life, I'm trying to manifest my life and what I should be doing in my life and the interactions I should be having with people, with businesses, with spirit, with spiritual practices, with everything that makes up a person's life. And once you start pushing in certain directions, then you will then start influencing the greater consciousness that is around you. For example, you could have a big burger chain that you don't agree with their philosophy and how they work. So you don't go there. I don't go to a lot of things because it's not the world that I wish to create. And once we start realizing that is a massive part of the manifestation process, and that's not a wing and a prayer. That's you physically choosing to abstinate or abstain from an aspect of life that you do not see a part of that thing in the future. Okay? So that's on the big spectrum of the whole thing. Yeah? Manifesting on a personal level. Let's get into that. So as I said, it's keeping things really simple. The simpler you can keep it, the better it is. Now, obviously, as I said, if you watch a lot of videos on manifestation, there is a lot of engagement of spirit, of meditation, of keeping that eye, that mental thing on the goal and everything like that, and on what you're trying to manifest, which I get, and I totally understand, and I totally go with. I really do, you know. But the world is not created with yin or yang. It's created with the yin and yang. And this is, I think, the biggest issue in manifestation. So when you're interpreting the world and when you are trying to manifest through your mental demands, as it were, through your spirit, through your energy, through your thinking, through your emotions and so forth, don't forget that there is a physical part of it that is incredibly important. And if you do not approach it with that in mind, or that engaged or entwined with your spirit, with your energy, with with your meditations and so forth, you will find that it's a lot more difficult and also a lot more hit and miss. Your body cannot live without consuming, transforming, creating. That's what everything does in the physical world. Trees do exactly the same. They consume carbon dioxide, or they consume the air, they keep the carbon dioxide, and they expel oxygen. Not all the time. You know, trees can create a lot of carbon dioxide as well, but it's that whole sort of process that we go through of consuming, transforming, creating. And if you look at your meditations or your energy or the energy around you or the way in which you use your intuition and so forth, that is the same process. You're taking in information, you're transforming it, and then you're putting it out there into the universe in a way that says, I want this I want this lovely piece of cheese and a bit of wine. You're trying to manifest something. Okay? Now, there is this certain engagement with the inner spirit, what I would call the monkey mind, and I'm doing another video on that because it's one of the biggest ills of the world at the moment. It causes enormous amounts of problems, and it's overthinking. The KISS method is amazing. Keep it simple, stupid. And so once you're sort of putting it out there, your engagement, you have your subconscious looking for the coincidences or the components or the needs, because that's really important, the needs that you will have to manifest your wants, because all wants produce enormous amounts of needs. And we should entwine together the physical and the metaphysical worlds. Isn't that right, Cody? Cody's just come back to say that, isn't it? You're going to go for a wander. And if you haven't seen Cody, he's my dog. He'll probably pop up. He loves photobombing, so he'll probably pop up behind me at some point. So entwining the both sides is imperative. So defining what you wish to manifest is really important. So, and what you're trying to manifest has to be in alignment to a certain degree of what you're living now. Even if what you're living now is not what you want to be living, the alignment is simply, I am moving away from what I don't wish to be to what I wish to be. And there are steps along that way that you should not ignore, because you risk to take off, which would be great, and get pulled back to where you were in the beginning. You don't want that. You want to progress and progress to another stage, and then progress to another stage, and then another stage, and etc., etc. So one of the first things you need to quantify when looking at your wants in your manifestation factor is, I look at it like this. Always try to do the possible and not the impossible. And it's common sense, that. Okay? But do not aspire to the possible. Your aspirations should be drawn to the impossible. And that's the yin-yang factor. We find it all over the place. It's one that goes opposite to the other, but when you put them in harmony, they both work together. So, for example, let's just take a very simple example. You're aspiring to be rich, and without getting out there and getting involved, unless you're playing the lottery, it ain't going to happen. And I know a lot more lottery losers than the lottery winners. And you have to be realistic with yourself. And that's where you're changing from one reality to another through acts of finances and so forth can be incredibly detrimental to your life, because the change is too radical. That's why you've got to go through these steps. So your goal might be saying, I would like to be, this is the lifestyle I would like to live. As you start going down that path, the volume of money that you will need in order to live that lifestyle will be in alignment with each step that you go forth. And I wouldn't personally concentrate on the money side of things, because eventually and ultimately you will be the loser. You will not really have manifested the life that you lived, or the life that you lived will not necessarily live up to your expectations. So working to aspirations that are connected to you on a very emotional, spiritual, energetical, or physical sense is really important. Let's say you would like to be a surfer. I would not suggest you go up a mountain in order to do that. You start with something, a beach that's pretty close to where you are, that have reasonable ways for you to learn upon, rather than sort of saying, blow it, I'm going to go to, Jaws in Hawaii. Is it in Hawaii or Malibu? I can't quite remember. And it's massive waves, and start on that. You're not going to start on that. And it's a process that you've got to go through. And it's the same thing saying, I would like to manifest, my aspiration is to manifest this business. In order to manifest this business, I need to have this amount of investment. I need these tools. I need this education or this experience. I need this shop or workspace or whatever it is in order to get there. And you start knocking it down one by one. And that is the simple way of doing it. But there is that engagement with spirit. And this is where we tend to overthink things. It's not here that it happens. A film that you see at the cinema has gone through a multitude of processes before it's projected upon that screen for you to watch. And you need to go through that process in order to have that film in front of you. So you need to address or meditate on the idea of saying, I would like to run this business. It would make me happy. And then feeling within your body, not within your mind, within your body. And listen to what your body is telling you. Because it will be the fuel and the resources your mind will need to keep you laser focused on what you're going after. So when you're manifesting something, take time to think about it. When I say think, I mean listen to your body. Okay? And you can listen to everything that is around you. At the moment there's a lot of wind. You won't be able to hear it because I'm hiding behind a bush. This beautiful part of the world. And there's multitudes of beautiful parts in the world. This world is a fantastic, amazing thing. And we can withdraw, you can draw a lot of information from what is happening around you according to what you're trying to manifest. And that's where you can combine your spirit, your energy, your intuition with what you need in order to manifest what you want. If you're thinking about doing something, and let's say you have a flock of birds that sort of come in the opposite direction and are really squawking, and it makes you feel a little bit, ooh. Maybe that's the universe sort of saying, no, you don't really want to be doing that. Or you don't want to be doing it like that. You will see with your interaction with spirit, with the elements, with the wind, with the sun, with everything that is around you, to understand the best way to approach the situation. Simply because that is how we're going to change the consciousness of this planet, of everybody on it. But we have to integrate everything. So you have to integrate the birds, the trees, the clouds, the waterfalls, the trains, the people. You have to integrate everything into what you're doing. So when you start doing, because you shouldn't try, you should just do, but when you start manifesting physically, by going to the bank, asking for a loan, or by looking at renting a shop, going to visit that shop, that's when your body will then return to you the sensations you would have had. You took time to listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to your spirit. You'll know exactly what you should be doing. And when you walk into a shop, you'll say, this is it, this is the shop. Once you start doing things like that in those sort of order, it becomes a lot simpler to manifest what you wish out of life. And you should keep it very simple and start with one thing, then the next step, then the next step. And even if you don't have those steps in mind already, you could probably get 1 or 2, maybe 3 steps that you need to make before you can get to really moving. But as you do one step, it's going to become obvious the other steps that you need to do in order to get there. So taking time out and manifesting for yourself, manifesting life, needs time, meditation, yes, but it also needs a physical engagement. And that physical engagement has to be in a rhythm that's in line with you and how you integrate your spirit energy, the world that is around us. And it will become a very natural process. And everything you will be doing will be in accordance with nature, in accordance with the humans, in accordance with energy itself. So, we'll start from the beginning. At the beginning, know what you want. The moment you know what you want, you will then see what you need. If you're finding it difficult to know what you want, that's when you start at the beginning. I've got another video that's coming out. It's called the tea meditation as well, and which I've just recorded, and it will help you to define what is good for you and help you to see what you wish to be doing in life. What is your path, your ultimate goal? And the ultimate goal has got to be in alignment with you. And that's the first step of manifestation. So once you know what you want, you'll know what you need to get or need to do. And then you've got to sort of check what is possible to do according to that pathway that I wish to be on and what is impossible. Aspire to the impossible, do the possible. Okay? Because every step you take will just get larger and larger and larger, which you will then go from walking to running, manifesting your way forward. Once you realize what is impossible and what is possible, that's when you can start really getting into your body, listening to your body through meditation, through the sensations, listening to the world that is around you, to know when you are in line or in step with nature, with energy, with yourself. And once you get that idea of, okay, now I'm starting to see the steps I need to take. Once I know the steps I need to take, then I start physically going ahead and doing it. And that's when you can integrate the physical side, the yin and the yang of what you're trying to manifest. Start with simple things. And energy is really, I did the message from energy the other day, and I do it every week. But the message from energy that came out the week before I made this video, one of the messages was Mother Nature is now trusting us. So I would trust her to also show you through everything that is around you. And you could do it in Trafalgar Square, Times Square, on in Sydney Harbour, in front of the Opera House. It doesn't matter. Or in front of the Clock Tower in Auckland. Whatever it is, where there's a mass amount of people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have chosen to put myself in the beautiful valley. But, the horses, I don't know if you can hear them. They're all calling just behind me there. And they're obviously coming for some sort of meeting. So getting into alignment with everything and then doing one step after the other. And you'll find that these steps will become a lot easier. And every time you do a step, you integrate what your body is trying to tell you, what the world is trying to tell you, what the physical situation is around you. And before you know it, you'll look back and you'll kind of go, wow, I've done so much. And it has been a fantastic journey. So keep it simple when trying to manifest things, all right? Okay? Excellent. There you go. Don't forget about all the other videos that we do on this channel as well. We got the readings for messages from energy for earth and fire signs on the Thursday, air and water signs on the Friday. Also do the messages from energy on the Wednesday, and these side of videos on the Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. Once I get things settled, the live will be coming back because I adore doing lives. Interacting with everyone is absolutely fantastic. It's having a settled Wi-Fi situation that allows me to do that. Okay. Thank you for having the confidence to subscribe to this channel. It's absolutely lovely to see. Your comments are beautiful and lovely to hear and see. I reply to all comments, so don't worry. They may be a little bit late sometimes, but I always do reply. Yes, so it's lovely to see. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.